What's up everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, November 29th, 2018. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for coming by. It's a live stream. I'm on a brand new iMac and I have this new setup here, so I'm testing it. So bear with me if there's some trouble. There might even be audio trouble right now. I don't know. But Mexican Charlie Lee is first in the place, and he can tell me if you can hear me. Can you hear me, everybody? If you are a replay viewer, feel free to just check the pinned comment in the comment section. I'll put some, timestamps, relevant timestamps, so that you can just go check out what we have going on. Instead of hanging around while I wait for people to get here and all that good stuff. So, hopefully the video is good too, because I'm using a different camera for this. So feel free to let me know if it's not good. It's all good. You won't hurt my feelings. But check it out. I have a bunch of cameras set up. I'm gonna start trying to be a studio guy. See if we can get different angles going. I just have to get the cameras and the angles right. I'm gonna start doing a little production here for everybody. But I'm probably gonna not waste my time with that tonight. So a lot to go over. As you can see, I got my new iMac. So here's kind of like my setup, what you're looking at right now. I'm loving it. So if anybody notices any issues during this live stream, please let me know. If I miss your comment, tweet me or something. I want to get this right. Sarah and I are planning on moving soon. So once I have like an actual studio set up, I think I'll be able to give you all better production, better videos. So I appreciate everybody's help so far. So I have this bullish shirt on all day in my video today too, because it's much needed. I know I talk, bearish sometimes, and I just want to remind everybody, because somebody tweeted at me, so they said, "You're bearish, Dan." And I just want everybody to remember, I'm bullish, baby. What's up, Drew Blood 21? The Popo is here. Appreciate everybody coming by who's here right now. I think I'll just hop in. I'll get started right now. We're, 2.5 minutes in. We'll start with some news. Just a couple interesting pieces of news I found interesting, wanted to share with you in case you missed it. Number one, we have, look at this ad for this hoodie. Who wants that hoodie? We have Bitcoin mining giant holds flash sale to celebrate price bottom. And you can see a representative of the company. I just thought this was cool for some reason. Stephen Mosher told CoinDesk that the sale currently had no set end date and it had sufficient inventory for all miners except the Avalon 911, which sold out. Mosher further explained that Cannon was celebrating the price of Bitcoin leaping over 11% yesterday following recent losses. With miners' profitability suffering recently amid low Bitcoin prices, he said there were concerns people were turning off machines and smaller guys were getting out of the market, and that everyone is sitting and waiting. He continued, "I'm looking and I see Bitcoin rebound. It's up to $4,300, and my thinking was, I'm going to celebrate. Usually if Bitcoin goes up, we would put prices up. Well, I thought I'm going to try something different." I like that. So I thought that was interesting. And then the other little piece of news I wanted to cover was this one. This is a really important piece of news, in my opinion. It really speaks to the approach that I have in the market, and I think many of you have in the market. And this guy is a good example. So let's hop in and talk about it. Galaxy Digital Q3 losses total $76 million as bear market continues. Cryptocurrency merchant bank Galaxy Digital has released its quarterly earnings report, and the results from the third quarter of the year are looking grim. The firm has reported a net loss of $76.6 million in Q3 2018, bringing the company's year-to-date losses to $175.6 million in the first 9 months of the year. Whew, there you go. Mike Novogratz. Galaxy Digital doesn't just trade in cryptocurrencies, though. It also invests in blockchain startups and businesses and holds other assets, including cash. Total assets held by the firm equate to $418.4 million, according to a report, with $123 million being digital assets like Bitcoin, a number that is up significantly from the end of 2017 when Galaxy held just $22 million in digital assets. It's interesting to see Galaxy's overall crypto holdings grow despite the value of cryptocurrencies falling as much as 80 to 90% from all-time highs, painted back in December, when Galaxy held a much smaller portion of digital assets. Question for everybody. Is it really that interesting to see that Novogratz and Galaxy's overall crypto holdings have increased amidst this bear market and these lower prices? Is it really interesting? Is it really surprising? Or is there a reason for that? Is it because he knows what he's doing? And this is when you get in. So, continuing on, you can see the revenue report closed on September 30th. So Novogratz was well aware of the mounting losses his company was facing when he predicted Bitcoin would reach new all-time highs after leading the cryptocurrency by market cap is able to take out 10,000 around the second quarter of 2019. Thought that was interesting. So somebody just says, have you seen Bitcoin Ben's new video? He was very bullish. I haven't seen it. I think I just got a notification that he posted, but I haven't watched it. John Red, appreciate you. $1.99 super chat. Always great. My favorite channel. Whew. That's a lot to bear. I appreciate that pressure. Favorite channel. I feel like I have a lot to live up to. John Red, I appreciate you. I see you on Twitter. I saw a comment, I think today or yesterday. Thank you so much for your support, and everybody out there. Thank you for your support. Let's kind of cruise over. There's a couple other things I want to talk about before we get into price, and let's do it. First off, here we go. Bitcoin Google Trends. I know many people on Twitter talking about this and just watching it. I think it's interesting to watch. I'm watching it. I have it on my phone, and I like to track what's going on. So obviously in the last week or so, we've had really, I guess since the beginning of November, we've had a slight increase, right? You see Bitcoin kind of cruising up in Bitcoin or in search term trends on Google Trends. Interesting to see. Everybody remembers the height of the bull market back here in December, late December. Went crazy. People went crazy Googling Bitcoin. Will it happen again? I think so. I don't know if this is the beginning of it or, just a little, a little noise being made. I know there's a lot of Litecoin lovers out there, so I want to show you how impressive Litecoin is on Google Trends. Look at that. That's really miserable. But it's okay. Litecoin, you can see the parabolic moves it made at the end of through December following Bitcoin. So Litecoin usually takes a little bit to catch up in terms of trendiness and coolness. So let's give it some time. But that's what we're looking at in terms of Litecoin on Google Trends versus Bitcoin on Google Trends. Good to see Bitcoin cruising up a little bit. I would like to see some more momentum. Google Trends doesn't have any oscillators just yet for us to watch for, but we can definitely keep an eye on Google Trends to see what's up. So here we go. We're at the charts, and I like to just keep it fresh. Even when there's not much going on in terms of price movement, it's important for me to remain consistent on this YouTube channel. So, there's not always a ton of new things to be talking about in terms of technical analysis, especially being I just did a technical analysis video earlier on Bitcoin. But I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit to you all about, a couple pieces of news going on, but also just dive into Litecoin a little bit in the charts and see where we find some synergy in terms of Bitcoin. So always start on the weekly chart. You can see it on the weekly. Here we are. And I don't know. I mean, one thing that I can't help but notice, besides the fact, and I'll zoom in a little bit, and this is where you're going to have to bear with me, everybody, as I get used to this computer, because I actually have a mouse now, and I have a feeling you're going to be able to hear the annoying clicking. And I'm sorry. I might have to get a trackpad for this new computer. So one thing that I can't help but notice is not only did we kind of cruise into this bottom channel, similar to that last bear market, right here, but I'm wondering, you can see when we fell into that bottom channel, into that bear market, and I'm just thinking out loud, edit name says we bottomed out. Many people think we bottomed out. But look at this big red weekly candle we have right here. The bottom. This was the first touch. This is the first bottom. And we've used that weekly candle like so much in terms of this weekly candle that we just formed and we closed on. We used it to tell the story of dipping into this bottom range that we possibly might be in. We used the weekly red candle, those two weekly red candles, the harmony between the two, to speak to the RSI and how oversold we are and the synergy there. And just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, if you can clearly see, if we open up a vertical line, well, where did this weekly candle take place? Right there. And you can see on the RSI, where did this weekly candle take place? Right there on the RSI. And let me put a line. Boom, right there. And then if we open up this chart, you can see these weekly candles close right down here at its bottom. The RSI on the weekly here, not quite as oversold as last time, but close enough. So much harmony between the two. And so I can't help but wonder, what's going to happen next in terms of like this chart movement that we've seen and we've anticipated. I want to see how much we bounce around within the bottom range, and if it's similar to how we did in this bear market that we had in 2015. And you can see price range from this low that we hit, we cruise back up close to the 50 EMA for 86% gains. And then let's see. From this low that we currently just had, how far are we from we're 82% from the 50 EMA. Will we get a similar move? I tend to think we're at least going to start, cruising up there to at least the 5,500 to the top of this channel. Maybe not the 50 EMA on the weekly. We might not get that high, $7,000, but I'm thinking at least $5,500 on the daily, and you can see the daily right here on Bitcoin. So a cruise back up to the 50 EMA would bring us right around to $5,500, slightly below $5,500 right there. And you would see something like this in terms of the weekly chart. You would see a move like that, which is very similar to a move like that. And so I can't help but wonder. It's what I do with historical data that we have, is we have to anticipate things like that. Poseidon Lou, $9.99 super chat. I appreciate you, man. I do. Half the time I don't even know you're here until I just see you just throwing out money, man. Throwing out money. That almost buys you a full Litecoin. I never thought I would see the day. I remember $9.99 super chat would be like, man, 1/10 of a Litecoin, 1/20th of a Litecoin. Now you're almost throwing out a Litecoin. I appreciate it, Poseidon Lou. I really do. Thank you. So yes, let's see the movements, right? We obviously have our supports and resistance that we've talked about on this channel. This is me thinking out loud, just wondering what next, and will this crazy harmony between the last bear market continue? It's just something I'm watching. I don't know if you are. I mean, many people out there I think could care less about the last bear market, but I think we don't have any other data really in terms of Bitcoin. I think this whole entire area for technical analysis is priceless. And we think about Novogratz and Galaxy Digital, and the fact that they're accumulating and investing more than ever in this whole downtrend. It says a lot, because this game it's not an emotional game. If you're playing it emotionally, then you're gonna FOMO in, you're gonna buy the top. You're not gonna buy the bottom because there's fear there. So I want to see what happens in this bottom range now. We're here, but time will tell. So moving on to, I want to go over Litecoin. Just want to take a look at it. This is Litecoin this is the weekly chart. So you can see, again, so if you look at Bitcoin on the weekly, right here, right? So there's Bitcoin on the weekly. Here's Bitcoin on the weekly, and you can see it's got like kind of a smoother vibe to it, right? The move of Bitcoin is smoother, whereas Litecoin, has pretty drastic looking dips, and because it has moved more volatile, right? You can see from this all-time high down to this bottom, we saw a little bit over 98% on the downside. So Bitcoin did not see that much. And similarly, from this recent all-time high to where we are now, 92%. We're talking about 92% losses for Bitcoin. So one thing, if you're a Litecoin person, right? If you're a Litecoin lover out there, I don't think it should be a surprise when you see Litecoin performing worse than Bitcoin versus when you see Litecoin performing better than Bitcoin some days. It's just what it does. It moves stronger depending on its direction. And you can see it here. You know, in this month time frame, everybody remembers this move, like crazy parabolic move. So Bitcoin and Litecoin, I think, move very synergistically, even though we have Litecoin on the downside a little bit, you know, more drastic. So we're talking on the downside currently for Bitcoin, 82%, Litecoin down 92%. But they move in pretty good flow with each other. So a couple things I wanted to talk about with Litecoin, now that we're talking about Litecoin, is I want to talk about the 50 EMA and compare it with what Bitcoin's doing right now. And you can see, first note that I have here is we're 33% from the 50 EMA on Litecoin. I put that note a little bit earlier, so yeah, we're still around 33%. And then in context to Bitcoin, because I think it's very important to see if there's a mismatch or a match between the two. And you can see Bitcoin from its 50 EMA is around 30 to 31%. So that just helps tell the story of how close together Bitcoin and Litecoin do move. You can go open up other 50 EMAs on other cryptos, and you're not always going to see this closeness and this relation. So oftentimes that's why you see when we do technical analysis, Bitcoin will see a certain amount of resistance on the upside at the same amount of upside that Litecoin sees resistance, right? So here's a perfect example, 30 to 33%. If the market sees 30 to 33% slow gains, then I think we're going to see some resistance. And this speaks to a tweet that I had the other day talking about a run for Bitcoin up to $5,500. So that's kind of what we're looking. That's kind of what we're looking at in the short to mid range in terms of my best guesstimate, my best guess. And then the other thing I want to look at for Litecoin is I want to look at the stock RSI and the RSI. So stock RSI, we obviously have, you know, the last couple of days we have a nice move up for Litecoin. So it has room to grow, right? We can continue up. But oftentimes what we'll see is a settling down on the daily on the stock RSI. So you'll see a settling down, maybe a little pullback, right? And when we get things like this happening, this is when we start seeing these higher highs and higher lows on maybe like a rising wedge on a 4-hour. So what I use the daily for in terms of 4-hour charting is I see where are we on the stock RSI on the daily. You know, a quicker moving momentum oscillator that's going to react quicker to Litecoin's moves. And I go to the 4-hour and I say, okay, here we are. Like that stock RSI is overbought on the daily, like right up in here, right? So we have room to go to the bottom of this wedge, right? Which will bring us back down on the stock RSI out of overbought area. So, and if that trend continues, what will happen is we'll see support at the bottom of the wedge, we'll form a higher low, and this is what we want to see happen. If not right now, we want to see even more critical support at the 50 EMA on the 4-hour. Not sure if it will happen, but a possible move to like $31, $32, a new higher low, and then a momentum back up. That's kind of like how I do my technical analysis for Litecoin on the shorter term. And then in terms of when do I start accumulating more, like when do I start feeling more comfortable? Well, I'll look at and I'll wait for a break below this current wedge that we're in. This is almost the same exact type of wedge that were in Bitcoin on the 4 hour. And this is something I've covered for the last 2 days in my videos. So let's check it out. So here's Bitcoin on the 4 hour, and here's this wedge that we've been talking about that's been forming. And this is really, really synergistic and congruent with the wedge that Litecoin is forming. So it's the same type of move. It's higher highs and higher lows in this wedge, right? So we have a touch, bottom, touch, and then we have this second confirmed touch to the top, and we've come back down since. Right now we're testing this 50 EMA area on Bitcoin on the 4 hour. So our breakout target is $5,500 on the upside out of this rising wedge. We do know that rising wedges fall on the downside more than on break to the upside. So if we get a break on the downside, we're going to take the height of this wedge, and I'm not going to get the ruler out, but it's basically right around there, around $3,300 on the downside. So Litecoin, similar move. We're in a 4 hour chart in a rising wedge, and if we can break to the upside, I think it will be probably the most bullish move that we can possibly get right now in terms of Litecoin looking good. I see comments in the chat, and people are like, people are saying, I just saw a comment saying Litecoin is dead. Like, what? And I don't know if is Jake. No, it wasn't Jake that said that. Let's see. Jamal Brown is here. He said Litecoin is dead. And I just want to know, like, I would love to have the conversation. I would love to have the conversation of, why do you think Litecoin is dead? Is it because something with the technology, something with the cryptocurrency itself? Is it because of how much it's down? Is it because, what's the story there? I want to know why you think that. Shielded by God said crypto has died. And I don't think so. Now crypto Shielded by God says crypto is a sleeping giant. So then I think Shielded by God is all about the crypto. So Jamal Brown, I don't know. He said, what's the use for it? So Jamal's basis for crypto being dead is Litecoin has no use case. And I don't know Jamal, if you're online or on Twitter, but you can see people going out that are part of Litecoin Foundation, not even part of Litecoin Foundation, getting businesses on board with accepting Litecoin. First off, Litecoin for payments is insane. I could bring up for small business to business, I could bring up a Wells Fargo chart of all the fees and the wait times for sending a wire. I'm a recruiter, right? Crypto Capital Venture, and I recruit in the crypto space, engineers, product designers, whatever you have, whatever talent is being recruited in the space. When I invoice a client, and I have the opportunity to invoice in Litecoin and accept cryptocurrency, and they can pay that invoice immediately for pennies in fees and instantaneously with no wait times. Tell me how there's no use case there. There's so much use case. And I'm just, I'm a small recruiting firm in the cryptocurrency space. This applies to huge, massive businesses that are doing B2B, wire transfers. And there's so much use case beyond that. And you can find all the use cases out there. So Litecoin is certainly not going anywhere. I can tell you that much. And as people begin to adopt it, as people begin to accept it in terms of payments, there's so much use for it. Not only that, but Litecoin as an on-ramp for the Lightning Network and working harmoniously with Bitcoin, such a powerful use case. So those are my thoughts for you. I just saw a question. So Bart says, you say that you are buying the dips. When are you taking profits? I wonder, Bart, we have a Bart in the Crypto Capital Venture Launchpad app, which is like, there's like crickets over there right now. There's not many people as there were when we were kind of cruising along in like the $200 area of Litecoin. But Bart, I am buying the dips. I'm always accumulating the dips. And I'm not planning on taking profit with my Bitcoin and Litecoin accumulations. I'm accumulating. We're talking years out. And when I say that, that doesn't mean that I'm not accumulating other cryptocurrencies or even accumulating a little nest egg on the side to sell at a certain point just to kind of take some profits. I am. However, that's not something I'm probably going to talk about on this channel. When I sell some crypto, whether it's, Digibyte, Cardano, a little bit of Litecoin, probably not going to know. You're probably not going to know. But my approach to this market is the same as, Novogratz or Anthony Popliano, who was just on CNBC the other day talking about he's been buying the whole way down. He's been buying the whole way down, and they tried to spread some fake news about him right in the description below the video that he says he's buying the whole way down because he's bullish. They basically said Anthony Popliano explains why he's bearish. So fake news. But that's why I'm buying, I'm accumulating, and yes, I do buy the dips, and that is what's important to me in my approach. And just to kind of help paint that picture of why that's my approach, it's simple. It really is simple. Growing up, playing baseball, being serious about baseball, being an entrepreneur for so long now, the mental aspect of my day-to-day, whatever I'm doing, is extremely important to me. It's very important that I know that I'm going to be in the right mindset when I make a decision to do something. So when I'm accumulating, right? When I'm accumulating Bitcoin, even if it's a bear market on the way down, number one, I'm accumulating knowing, like say I'm accumulating right here at, $6,600. Let me try and zoom in a little. Let's zoom in on this bear market. Let's behold the beauty of it. So say here's the whole last year on the weekly chart. If I'm accumulating right here, right? Or right here at $5,900, that's where I want to be accumulating in this bear market. The reason being is because mentally, I want to enjoy these pullbacks, even if temporary. I want to enjoy them. And then I want to find the setup for the next dip, right? The next pullback down. And so if you go back in my videos, you'll see even back here, in this time range, I was basically talking about we could go down in the 5,000s, in the 4,000s, and the 3,000s. So I was buying this dip here, knowing that, right? And that's just personally, like I'm spending what I can afford to lose and what I'm comfortable not touching for years, because that's my plan, and I'll continue doing that. But I'd way rather accumulate in this bear market here, right here, right? Every dip. I'd way rather accumulate in those areas than to FOMO in, not prepared, and by the top of every little, mini run that we had. And if you go back and watch our videos, that's pretty much what we've done. We've literally, I feel like, anticipated almost every dip in this market. And these are pretty big dips. We're talking like, from this low up to this high is 46%, and then we pull back down. So when your plan is to accumulate, even if you're going to lose on the downside in the short term, when you're buying the dips as opposed to buying the top, right? You have a way different mentality as an investor. And that's what we're doing. My approach is to do the same exact thing that Novogratz, Galaxy Digital, is doing. Look, they lost $76 million in Q3, and they do not care. They do not care. So many people, leaders in the space have accumulated the whole way down, and they do not care. I am one of them. I don't care, because my approach to the market is the same as every other VC that is in the market right now. which is this. I'm talking, I don't even know if I can zoom out enough, but yeah, I can. There we are. This is a little blip on the radar, everybody. I'm telling you. So if you can find the mental fortitude to approach this market and to do what works for you, right? And you don't get wrecked and you don't spend more money you can afford to lose. And if you can start thinking logically and with a little bit of wisdom as an investor, then you'll make a good investment, right? Because the worst possible thing that could happen, the worst case scenario is this. Boom. Fail, right? Bitcoin just fails. It's done forever. And I'll walk away. I'll say, man, that's a bummer. Like, I would be upset, right? But it wouldn't change my life at all. So that's my approach to the market. So that's why I buy dips. And I just saw a comment. Crypto Patio, appreciate the super chat. $10 super chat. Crypto Patio, that's definitely a new name too. Thank you for creating the channel. I've learned a great deal, which in turn has helped me in making smarter trades. I'm trading to accumulate more cryptos. Your TA has been spot on. Wow. Crypto Patio, thank you so much. And I actually love that name, Crypto Patio. I'm thankful that any video that I put out there has helped you. That means a lot to hear, because sometimes I wonder if like I'm just kind of, talking and making sense or even helping anybody, but I'm always hoping that I can provide value to people. So Mark says, just subscribed. Thank you for all your content. Much appreciated. Mark, thank you for the subscribe. Dude, we have Drew Blood. We have official Litecoin Lotto. Rob is here. We have Steven Herzog is here. Poseidon is here. Man, I feel like so many people are here. What's up, family? So, and then Hank Miller says, like smashed. Appreciate it. We have almost 300 people. If everybody could just hit that like button, I would love it. What can I say? I have this new thing that's going to show me, it's going to show me how many people are watching that are subscribed versus unsubscribed. I'm really looking forward to messing around with that. So those are my thoughts. I had to erase this little thing on the screen that I had of that, because we don't want that. We don't want to speak that into existence, do we? But yeah, I mean, I hope everybody's doing well out there. I know everybody wants to enter a bull market. Like I do too. But I was interviewing a candidate earlier, and they were a product manager that I was trying to recruit. And we were talking about like this last year, and I told him like this has been one of the most healthy things for crypto, the fact that this happened. And it's so necessary in any market, right? These markets need this. We need these cycles. So not only is it healthy for any market, in particular Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, because I've seen so many startups and ICOs that had literally no purpose, raising tons of money, they've vanished. They've lost like so much. And I don't wish that on anybody. I'm sure they were trying to succeed and trying to do something, but when you just take all this money from investors and you don't offer a product, right? Then there's a problem, and that needs to go away. And this is literally what that is. And what's so cool about this chart is if you just look at it, I'm very like visual. I look at it and I see a huge wave. Like I just see a wave, right? Just a wave just pouring over and washing away all the junk that was entering crypto. And it's going away. And that's why you'll see in this stage that we're in now of this cycle, the bottom, or somewhere within the bottom, I'm sure, you see builders. You see people that are more excited about the space and excited about offering value. I have my clients that are still building, and they don't care about the price of Bitcoin. And that's what we need. So I think that's what we're getting. but time will tell. We'll see. I'm hoping, this is fun. Like, I feel like the technical analysis, it was getting tough. It was getting tough when we were, up in this area, consolidating right here. I mean, look at that. Look at those weeks. Week after week, it's getting tighter and tighter. Nothing happening. The technical analysis was kind of getting a little boring, and the videos were a little bit tougher to make. But now we've fallen into a really, really important area on so many levels, which is this potential bottom range. And what's cool is this whole way down, we were talking about it. This bottom range, potentially, 5,500, 3,000, 3,500 area. And now we're there. So what's going to be really interesting to see what happens. So time will tell, as always. But look at the harmony between the two. I just like it. I love it. We'll see. Could we go below this channel? Absolutely. So my final words to everybody that is here right now is just be prepared for something like that, and don't spend more than you can afford to lose. And that's it. Those are my thoughts on this Thursday night. I feel like I haven't done a live stream in a while, and I just kind of wanted to hop on. I wanted to test out my new little office computer, and this is what my setup looks like right now. So everybody that's bearing with me through this, appreciate you, and I really do. I'm so thankful for anybody that has subscribed, anybody that has liked this video. Appreciate you. Super chatters, you rock. I love you, and I hope everybody's hanging in there. Today is Thursday. I have a crazy busy day tomorrow, but I will probably put a video out there. You know I'm bullish, okay, everybody? I just want to throw that out there. I hope everybody has an amazing Thursday nights. That's it. That's all I got. I will see you all in the next video. Have an awesome night, and God bless.